sense in which when you sacrifice something for someone else, that is the ultimate expression of love. And we all know that. In Jesus Christ, we're talking about God Himself. The life that He sacrificed was greater than we can comprehend. And He sacrificed it for our benefit. That's love, people. Okay? It wasn't just for our benefit. It was to save us from our own evil. And we were hating Him for it while He did it. Okay? In other words, we have done evil deeds and we deserve to be punished forever. And He was punished in our place instead of us. And if we believe, then we'll be saved. Okay? Claps forever. I can't even remotely come close. So, all of that was very serious. And I thought, why don't we add in a seventh point that is not serious at all and kind of funny, a few little historical trinkets for you. I don't know if you've seen these things called monuments. A famous one would be the Washington Monument, and everyone says, doesn't that kind of look like a penis? Yes, it does. And people say, well, that's really what it is. And you're like, no, it's not really what it is. Let me give you the history. Okay, so if you're English and of English descent, and if you're in America and you're listening to me in English, you probably are. When Rome fell apart, there were barbarian warlords who slowly tried to build new kingdoms, and they tried to make themselves look Roman so they would look official and permanent. And they would create like a Roman-looking imperial seal, but it wouldn't be as well done, as it was because it's the Dark Ages now, with Latin on it, like they're Romans. And anytime to this day, when we build a building that we want it to look official, a bank or a courthouse, we always build it just like the Parthenon. It looks just like the Parthenon in Rome. It's the most copied building. It was the first one, and they copied it in Roman times. And then when the barbarian and medieval warlords wanted to say, we're permanent, we're official, they made things look Roman. Okay, well, another thing the Romans did is they put up these monuments, like the Washington Monument, called obelisk. Okay, and we do those because they look official to us, because they look Roman. Well, why did the Romans do it? Well, the Romans did it because it looked official to them. Because at one time, Rome was the upstart new little kingdom. They had taken down Carthage, but they needed to brand themselves as official and permanent. And so they grasped onto a previous culture, a previous powerful civilization, and used some of their artwork because that had a look of permanence. And so the Egyptians were the ones who really first created obelisk. Okay, so why did the Egyptians do it? Well, because the Egyptians were obsessed with penises. They believed that the sky god masturbated the universe into existence, and then the story of Isis and Osiris with the magic golden replacement penis, the whole thing. Like, they were super obsessed with it. That's exactly what it was. So it's a long story, but yeah, it's kind of, sort of is a you-know-what. And the final thing, where's the word romance come from? Well, think about it. What happened? Constantine, the emperor, converted to Christianity, and so Rome had 100 years of Christianity. When Rome fell apart, one little sliver of Rome did not. The Roman Church. Okay, so think about these barbarian warlords. They worshipped Odin. That's what Wednesday means. Odin's Day, or they said Woden's Day, or Odin's Day, Thor's Day, Freya's Day, and then they had Washing Day. Okay? They would wear little hammers because the Christians wore little crosses. And they believed that, like, if you died as a wimp, you went to this place called hell, and if you died with your sword in your hand, you went to Valhalla to train to fight in the ultimate war against evil. And ultimately, Thor would have a mighty fight with the ultimate evil snake that encircles the universe, and the force would kill everyone except one man and one woman because they had gone all out in the war and just barely edged away a victory against evil. And then along come these Christians who say, you're sinners and Christ died for you. And Christian religion, the Roman religion, focused on this concept of love. And so in medieval times, the concept of Rome and that which is Roman became tied to the concept of love. And after Rome fell, people were cut off from one another who once, at one time people in England were getting bread from Egypt, and then you see that ends in the Dark Ages, and people are farming their own land. They actually farm more land. But French and Italian are Romance languages because they're actually just Latin at one time. But when Rome fell apart, the languages sort of diverged into French and Latin. So they're Romance languages because they're Roman. So, yeah, what is Google Plus? Who uses Google Plus? Sex, love, all of this that I've said about love, whatever relationship in your life, find your own way. Sorry about the camera. Always is good to find your own way. And there's some creative people out there who do find their own way. And families have kind of their own little traditions. But find your own way to express exclusivity. And always maintain a belief in fear instead of faith. And what we got? Overcome misunderstandings with trust and contemplation, not explanations, if at all possible. Understand that your body is a sacred tool for a sacred art form, tool for art, for love. And then understand it's really about sacrifice. Just like Superman sacrificed just being with Lois Lane because he believed in love, or whatever. I hope this video made sense. I hope it didn't run on too long. Thank you for your time.